What's up, Night Owl? Steely here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be walking you through how to run the Rime of the Frostmaiden quest, Hold Up, which takes place in Dugan's Hole. Now, the premise of Hold Up is that there are two winter wolves named Kanan and Corin who are extorting the people of Dugan's Hole for treasure and food, something that this town can't really spare. The two winter wolves are gathering up this food and this treasure and bringing it to their friend Norsu, an awakened mammoth. Now, Norsu the mammoth, Corin and Kanan the winter wolves are all friends to a frost giant by the name of Garagai. Garagai died a year ago to a group of adventurers, and his friends, the animals, haven't really taken it that well. So the two winter wolves and the mammoth don't really regard people that well from here on. So they have no problem extorting these townfolk and just terrorizing people overall. Two siblings named Silja and Finn were kidnapped 4 days ago and are currently being held at the Frost Giant's Lodge, which is where the party will end up for the Hold Up quest, which is like a dungeon. And it's up to the party to go get these prisoners back while dealing with Garagai's minions. Now, chances are the party's going to hear about these two winter wolves from rumors in other towns. If they arrive at Dugan's Hole, I would recommend that they meet the town and the speaker first before they encounter the wolves. As the book has it, as soon as they arrive at Dugan's Hole, the wolves start to extort them. I personally will let them get to town, meet the town first, and then have the wolves encounter them and start making their demands. Speaker Edgar has already written off these two teenagers as dead and has no interest in helping the party whatsoever. When the party leaves town, they're going to run into the two wolves, Corin and Kanan. Now, it's at this point that you have to be careful how you present it, because if the party runs into the wolves first and they haven't heard rumors about the wolves extorting the town, this could play out way differently than if the town tells them what's going on with the winter wolves and then they go out to find them. Because these two winter wolves are going to play a game of good wolf, bad wolf. At least that's how the book describes it. Corin will approach the party in a very non-threatening way, whimpering and pretending to be injured. A DC 15 insight check will see right through it. Corin claims that his master Garagai physically abuses the two wolves and has kidnapped two townsfolk, and offers to escort the party to the Frost Giant Lodge. If Corin is unsuccessful, Kanan will step in as the bad wolf and will bare his fangs, threatening to eat the party. He'll also further the story that Garagai will not hurt them anymore, and another DC 15 insight check will see right through that. And if both of those attempts fail, the wolves will just write them off as the townsfolk are going to die anyway because of how cold the lodge is, and they'll bail. Regardless of whether the winter wolves are there escorting the party or not, the party is going to encounter a blizzard first on the way, and then a group of wolves, both of which Kanan and Corin will protect the party from. First, the blizzard. Corin and Kanan will shield them and give them warmth, and when the wolves arrive, Kanan and Corin will scare them off. If the party encounters these wolves, they'll notice with a DC 13 nature check that these wolves are gaunt with starvation. So you may have it to where the party can offer them food in order to win their favor. If the party wasn't being escorted by Corin and Kanan, the party will meet them there at the lodge when they arrive. Either way, the two wolves still aren't hostile towards the party and will offer to stand guard while they go inside. The two winter wolves fully expect the awakened mammoth to take care of the party. The Ice Lodge is where Garagai lived and entertained other frost giants. Although not a Jarl, Garagai had a respected position among the frost giants of the far north. Everything in the lodge is built for giants and therefore quite large. The ceilings inside soar to a height of 30 feet. Area 1 is where the party will approach the Frost Giant Lodge, and they'll have to make a decision which of the 3 doors that they're going to go through. Area 2 is the Flensing Chamber, and it contains the corpse of a whale which is now frozen. In one of the alcoves is a frozen chest, which takes about an hour to free up. The chest contains giant-sized tools for flensing, as well as a scrimshaw goat, small enough to fit in a character's hand, and it's valued at about 25 gold pieces. The book also describes a paring knife the size of a longsword, and I thought it would be pretty cool to make that a functional longsword for the party, just kind of for effect. So, up to you, DMs, if you like that idea, give them a longsword in this area. If the party decides to go through the left door, they'll find room 3, which has the caged townsfolk. Inside this room is a huge animal cage which belonged to Norsu the awakened mammoth when it was much younger. Now this cage holds the 2 prisoners. The characters have 2 options at this point. They can bend the plats wide enough so that the 2 prisoners can escape, This requires a DC 15 athletics check while applying heat to the slats, or they can simply pick the lock using thieves' tools with a DC 15. If they attempt to open the gate without first lubricating the hinges, it will squeak loudly, which will alert the mammoth in room 5. At this point, Norsu will charge in and combat will start. If the party decides to go through the center entrance, they're going to end up in room 4, the entrance corridor. This passageway is choked with ice, and there are several icicles densely clustered above. Characters can move through this ice-choked tunnel with a DC 15 stealth check, but on a failure, the noise alerts the mammoth and combat will start. Room 5 is Garagai's icy tomb. It's here that the party will learn that Garagai has been killed, and I would strongly recommend that you hint at how Garagai was killed by adventurers in order to kind of piece together the entire story as to why Norsu and the wolves are the way they are. Once the party reaches this area, the mammoth Norsu will attack, believing that the party's presence here desecrates the tomb. Any character who acts before the mammoth on the initiative can use a persuasion or a deception check in order to calm the mammoth down. Depending on the level of your party, this mammoth is going to be a tough fight, and keep in mind they still have the winter wolves to deal with afterwards. This room also contains an ice throne with the giant rune of ice carved into it. The book says that a DC 15 Arcana check is used to identify the rune, but I would also rule that a character that speaks giant can also identify this rune. A detect magic spell will reveal conjuration magic around this rune, and any character who sits on the throne has the ability to summon a blizzard around the lodge. Room 6 is the War Room. It's here that Garagai and other frost giants gathered around to discuss various matters. On the floor underneath the table is a 1-foot-tall stone statue of a spindly creature that the characters recognize as a Twinga. This Twinga turned to stone after being killed by one of the 3 kobolds in this room. These 3 kobolds assumed that this lodge was unoccupied and did not expect to find the awakened mammoth or the 2 winter wolves dwelling inside. The Twinga scared them, so they killed it. These 3 kobolds will plead with the party to help them escape the lodge, and if the party does so, these 3 kobolds will stick with them for as long as you, the DM, see fit. Room 7 is Garagai's bedroom and contains nothing of interest with the exception of Garagai's bedroll. Feel free to flavor this room however you see fit. I personally added a journal that belonged to Garagai that detailed his relationship with Norsu as well as Kanan and Corin. And this sort of adds a little more depth to the characters and a little more sympathy from the party. Room 8 is the whale oil storage. Inside this room, the party will find 5 barrels of whale oil, and they weigh about 500 pounds and can be sold for 50 gold each. The party will also find a massive hole in the ground belonging to a Ramoraz. If the party decides to explore this tunnel, they'll find that it leads to an alternate exit from the lodge in order to avoid the winter wolves. And inside the tunnel, they'll also find frosted white residue smeared across the sections of the wall. This stuff is called Rime, and Ramorazes are known to exude small quantities of it shortly before giving birth. If the party decides to trade this stuff into an alchemist, they can end up with a potion of cold resistance. If they decide to sell it, they can get 250 gold pieces for it. Now, if the party wants to avoid combat altogether, they have the option to sneak past the mammoth with the 2 prisoners in tow. However, they may have to deal with those winter wolves because they are waiting right outside the front door. And there's no other way to get out of there other than the front door or the tunnel in Area 8. Unfortunately, you can't get to the tunnel in Area 8 without first leaving and going around. So it's up to you as the DM if you want to have the 2 winter wolves watching that door as they come out, or maybe possibly the party can sneak by into another room and then make their way out. Up to you, really, how the book says that they have the option to bring the prisoners to Area 8, but I don't see how that's possible without first going back outside where the winter wolves were. That may be an oversight. Let me know in the comments. If the party manages to bring the 2 prisoners back to Dugan's Hole, they'll be reunited with their mother, Hilda. It's here you'll learn that Hilda married her older brother, and he passed away a few years ago, leaving behind a pair of boots of the Winterlands, and she will give these to the party as a thank you. This quest was pretty enjoyable. I do feel like it needed better treasure, though. These wolves have been extorting this town, and I feel like there should be something that belonged to the town here other than the 2 prisoners. Maybe some jewelry or something. I'm not sure. If you want to add something like that, maybe spice it up. I know that those whale oil barrels are a pretty big haul as far as loot, but maybe some flavor from Dugan's Hole that they can bring back to the town. That's up to you as the DM, just for a little bit more flavor if you see fit. And that's it for the quest Hold Up. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know how YouTube works. Hit those buttons, leave a comment down below. Let me know which of the 10 towns you want to see covered next. And if you're a DM looking for players looking for a DM, make sure you join the Discord, link in the description. Come by, ask questions, let me know what you think. And as always, I'll see you at sundown.